My husband demanded his teen son share a room with my 10-year-old. I refused, then discovered what was on his computer, called police, immediately lost my marriage but saved my son from unimaginable danger. My husband demanded his 16-year-old son move into my 10-year-old son's bedroom. Not asked. Demanded. Said it was happening whether I liked it or not. Said I was being unreasonable. Said I was treating his son like a criminal. Said if I refused he would reconsider our entire marriage. I refused. Because I knew something he thought I did not know. Something I had discovered 3 days earlier. Something that made my heart run cold every time I looked at his son. Something that would make any mother lock her child's bedroom door and never let it open again. And when I finally told him what I knew, when I finally showed him the evidence I had been gathering, when I finally explained why I had called the police before even telling him, he did not apologize. He did not protect my son. He did not choose us. He chose his son. He always chose his son. Even after he knew. Even after the police showed him everything. Even after it was undeniable. That choice cost him everything. But it almost cost my son something worse. Something I will spend the rest of my life knowing I almost let happen because I wanted to believe my husband was a good man. Because I wanted to believe his son was just a troubled teenager. Because I wanted to believe I was overreacting. I was not overreacting. I was not being paranoid. I was not being cruel. I was being a mother. And that is the only reason my son is safe now. My name is Rebecca. 34 years old. Married to David for 3 years. Together for 5. My son is Ethan. 10 years old. The center of my universe. The reason I breathe. The person I would set the world on fire to protect. David's son is Kyle. 16 years old. From his first marriage. Lives with us full time. His mother is not in the picture. Has not been for 8 years. David has full custody. Has always had full custody. I did not question that when we got together. Did not ask why. Just accepted that Kyle's mother was unstable. Unfit. Gone. Red flag. Massive red flag. Ignored completely. We blended our family 3 years ago when David and I got married. Kyle was 13. Ethan was 7. I thought we would figure it out. Thought love and patience would be enough. Thought being a good stepmother meant giving Kyle space. Understanding. Second chances. I gave him too much space. Too much understanding. Too many chances. And in that space. In that understanding. In those chances. Something dark grew. Something I did not see until it was almost too late. The demand came 2 weeks ago. Sunday morning. David sat me down at the kitchen table. Serious expression. The one he uses when he has already made a decision and is just informing me. Kyle needs to move into Ethan's room. We need to convert Kyle's room into a home office. I am working from home permanently now. I need the space. I stared at him. You want to put a 16-year-old boy in the same room as a 10-year-old? To make an office? It is temporary. Just until we can afford to add on to the house. Maybe a year. Ethan is small. He does not need his own room. Kyle is the teenager. He needs privacy. They can share. No. Absolutely not. Ethan needs his own space. Kyle is 16. The age gap is too much. They should not be sharing a room. David's face hardened. Kyle is family. Ethan needs to learn to share. You are being unreasonable. This is not a negotiation, Rebecca. This is happening. It is not happening. Find another solution. Use the basement. Use the dining room. I do not care. But Kyle is not moving into Ethan's room. Why are you being so difficult about this? What do you think is going to happen? Kyle is going to upset him? He is his brother. You are treating Kyle like he is dangerous. I did not answer. Because I could not answer. Because 3 days earlier I had found something. Something I had not told David yet. Something I was still processing. Something that made the idea of Kyle sharing a room with Ethan absolutely unthinkable. David stood up. We are doing this. If you cannot be reasonable about blending this family, then maybe we need to reconsider whether this marriage is working. He walked away. Left me sitting at the table. Hands shaking. Mind racing. Knowing I had to tell him. Knowing he would not believe me. Knowing I had to protect Ethan even if it meant destroying everything. What I found was on Kyle's laptop. I was not snooping. I need to be clear about that. I was not invading his privacy out of suspicion or paranoia. I was looking for a file. David had asked me to print something for Kyle's school. Some college prep document Kyle had saved on his computer. He had given me permission. told me where to find it. I opened the laptop, went to the folder, found the file, and then I saw the other folders. Folders with names that made my stomach drop. Folders with titles that no 16-year-old should have. Folders that contain things I wish I could unsee. Things I will carry for the rest of my life. Images. Videos. Files. Downloaded. Organized. Dated. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands. I did not count. Could not count. Just stared at the screen, feeling my hands go numb. Feeling my vision narrow. Feeling the world tilt sideways. Not regular content. Not age-appropriate content. Not anything a 16-year-old should have. Younger. Much younger. Children. Doing things. Things I cannot write. Things I cannot describe. Things that made me close the laptop so fast I nearly broke it. Things that made me run to the bathroom and ill. Things that made me stand in the shower for 40 minutes trying to wash the feeling of knowing off my skin. I did not tell David that day. I should have. I know I should have. But I needed to think. Needed to process. Needed to figure out how to say the words. How to tell my husband that his son. The son he raised alone. The son he defended constantly. The son he chose over me repeatedly. That son was. I could not even finish the thought. I spent 3 days gathering evidence. Screenshot everything. Documenting file names. Dates. Locations. I did not look at the content again. Could not. Just captured proof that it existed. That it was on his computer. That it was organized. Deliberate. Extensive. Then I called a lawyer. Not a divorce lawyer. A criminal lawyer. Someone who specialized in these cases. I explained what I found. She listened. Did not interrupt. When I finished, she said 3 words that changed everything. Call the police. Now. I said I wanted to tell my husband first. She said no. Said if I told him he might destroy evidence. Might warn Kyle. Might make it worse. Said the police needed to be involved immediately. Said this was not a family matter. This was a crime. A serious crime. With potential victims. With potential ongoing danger. I asked about Ethan. She said, is Kyle currently in the home with your son? I said yes. She said, then your son is potentially at risk. Right now. Today. You need to call the police and you need to get your son out of that house until Kyle is removed. I called the police that day. From my car. In a parking lot. While Ethan was at school and David was at work and Kyle was home alone. I told them everything. They asked me to come to the station. Bring the laptop. Make a formal statement. I did. All of it. 3 hours of answering questions. Showing evidence. Signing statements. They were kind. Professional. But their faces told me everything I needed to know about how serious this was. They said they would execute a search warrant. Soon. Maybe that day. Maybe the next morning. They said not to tell anyone. Not my husband. Not Kyle. Nobody. They said to act normal. To keep Ethan safe. To wait for their call. I went home. Picked up Ethan from school. Made dinner. Pretended everything was fine. Kyle ate with us. Talked about his day. Normal? Completely normal. And I sat there knowing what I knew. Knowing what was on his computer. Knowing what was coming. Feeling like I was going to shatter into a million pieces. David came home late. Showed affection me. Asked how my day was. I said fine. He asked if I had thought about the room situation. I said we needed to talk about it. He said good. Said he was glad I was being reasonable. I was not being reasonable. I was waiting for the police to take his son away. The police came the next morning. 7 a.m. Warrant in hand. David answered the door. Confused. Scared. They pushed past him. Went straight to Kyle's room. Started seizing electronics. Computer. Phone. Tablet. External hard drives. Everything. Kyle came out of his room. Saw the police. Saw his stuff being boxed. Looked at David. Dad? What is happening? What did I do? David looked at me. Standing in the hallway. Face white. Rebecca. What is going on? Did you call the police? I said, yes. I found something on Kyle's computer. Something illegal. Something dangerous. I reported it. What are you talking about? What did you find? I could not say it. Could not form the words. Just shook my head. The detective stepped forward. Mr. Reynolds, we have a warrant to search your son's electronics. We have reason to believe there is illegal content on his devices. Your wife filed a report. We are investigating. Kyle is not under arrest at this time, but we need him to come to the station for questioning. David's face did something I had never seen. Collapsed. Illegal content. What? What kind of illegal content? The detective looked at me. Back to David. Material involving minors. Exploitative material. We cannot discuss details at this time. But this is a serious investigation. David grabbed my arm. Hard. You went through Kyle's computer? You invaded his privacy? And you called the police without talking to me first? What is wrong with you? I pulled my arm away. I found files, David. Hundreds of files. Of children. Young children. Doing things. I could not ignore it. I could not pretend I did not see it. I had to report it. You are lying. Kyle would never. You are making this up. You have been looking for a reason to push him out since we got married. This is insane. The detective intervened. Sir, we need you to calm down. We have evidence. Your wife did the right thing by reporting. We will be conducting a thorough investigation. Kyle needs to come with us now. Kyle was crying. Dad, I did not do anything. I swear. Whatever she saw. It was not. I did not. Please, Dad. Do not let them take me. David looked at me with pure hatred. If you are wrong about this. If you are lying. If you just ruined my son's life over nothing. We are done. Do you understand? We are done. I said, I'm not wrong. I wish I was. But I am not. They took Kyle to the station. David followed. Did not look at me. Did not speak to me. Just left. Left me standing in our house with police officers boxing up his son's electronics. Left me with Ethan, who had heard everything from his bedroom. Left me knowing that my marriage was over. Knowing that I had just detonated our entire family. But knowing Ethan was safe. Knowing I had done the right thing. Knowing I had protected my child even when it cost me everything. The police called me 6 hours later. Detective Morris. The one who had taken my statement. His voice was different. Heavier. Mrs. Reynolds. We have completed our initial examination of Kyle's devices. I need you to understand something. What you found. What you reported. You potentially saved lives. The content on those devices is. It is extensive. It is organized. And it is some of the most disturbing material we have encountered. Your son was living in the same house as someone with this material. You made the right call. The absolutely right call. I started crying. Could not help it. Relief. Horror. Grief. All of it. Is Kyle? Is he being charged? He is being held. We are filing charges. Multiple counts. Possession. Distribution. He was not just downloading. He was sharing. Actively participating in networks. This is serious, Mrs. Reynolds. He is going to prison. For a long time. Does David know? Does he understand? We showed him some of the evidence. Non-graphic descriptions. File names. Quantities. He is in denial. He is insisting Kyle was hacked. That someone planted it. That you are lying. We explained that the forensic evidence does not support that. But he is not accepting it. He is never going to accept it. He is going to choose Kyle. Even knowing. He is going to choose him. That is his choice to make. But Mrs. Reynolds. You need to protect yourself and your son. Kyle is out on bail. He will be home soon. Your husband brought him home. You need to decide if that house is safe for you. Because the evidence suggests Kyle is dangerous. And your husband is enabling him. I hung up. Packed bags. Grabbed Ethan. Went to my mother's house. Did not tell David. Did not leave a note. Just left. Because the detective was right. That house was not safe. Not with Kyle there. Not with David defending him. David called me 17 times that first night. I did not answer. He texted. Dozens of messages. Starting angry. Turning desperate. Ending with threats. You destroyed our family. Kyle is innocent. You are lying. Come home. We need to talk. If you do not come back, I am filing for divorce. You are keeping Ethan from me. That is parental interference. I am getting a lawyer. You are not taking my stepson away. I responded once. One text. Kyle is a predator. The police have proof. I am protecting Ethan. Do not contact me again. He called my mother's house. She hung up on him. He showed up at her door. She called the police. They escorted him away. He sent emails, letters, messages through friends. All the same. Kyle is innocent. I am lying. The police planted evidence. I'm trying to destroy his family. Denial. Complete. Total. Unshakable. The preliminary hearing was 3 weeks later. I attended. David sat on Kyle's side of the courtroom. Did not look at me. Did not acknowledge me. Just held Kyle's hand. Whispered to him. Supportive. Loving. Completely convinced his son was the victim. The prosecutor presented evidence. Not the actual files. Just descriptions. Quantities. Forensic analysis. Dates. Times. Proof of distribution. Proof of participation in networks. Proof that this was not a one-time mistake. This was years of deliberate activity. The judge set bail at $100,000. David paid it. Took Kyle home. Posted on social media that night. My son is innocent. He is being persecuted. The truth will come out. Comments were mixed. Some supportive. Praying for you. Kyle is a good kid. The system is broken. Others were not. Did you see the charges? This is serious. You need to accept reality. I did not comment. Did not engage. Just watched. Watched my husband destroy his life defending a son who was guilty. Watched him choose denial over truth. Watched him pick his child over everything, including reality. My lawyer filed for divorce 1 month after I left, citing irreconcilable differences. Requesting full custody of Ethan. Requesting supervised visitation for David only if Kyle was not present. Requesting a restraining order keeping Kyle away from Ethan. David fought all of it. Said I was using false allegations to steal his stepson. Said Kyle had never done anything to Ethan. Said I had no proof Ethan was in danger. Said the criminal case was separate from family court. Said I was being vindictive. My lawyer presented the police reports. The detective's statement. The forensic evidence summary. The recommendation that Ethan not be in contact with Kyle. The documented risk. The judge granted everything. Full custody to me. Supervised visitation for David. Restraining order against Kyle. The judge looked at David and said, "The evidence in the criminal case is overwhelming. Your son is a danger. Protecting the minor child is this court's priority. If you cannot accept that, then you will not have access to him." David stood up. "This is wrong. Kyle is innocent. You are all believing lies. My wife is manipulating everyone." The judge said, "Sir, sit down, or you will be held in contempt. The evidence speaks for itself. Your denial does not change reality." David sat. But his face was pure rage. All of it directed at me. The criminal trial was 8 months later. I did not attend most of it. Could not. Just the sentencing. Just to see it end. Just to know it was over. Kyle was convicted on 12 counts. Possession. Distribution. Participation in exploitation networks. The prosecutor asked for the maximum. 20 years. Said Kyle was unrepentant. Showed no remorse. Blamed everyone else. Was a continued danger. The defense. David's lawyer. Said Kyle was a child. 16 years old. Deserved rehabilitation, not prison. Had a future. Made mistakes but was not a monster. The judge sentenced him to 15 years. Said, "What you possessed. What you distributed. Those were real children. Real victims. Real suffering. You participated in that. You are not the victim here. The children in those images are. You will serve this sentence. And when you are released, you will be a registered offender for life. You have destroyed your future. And you have no one to blame but yourself." Kyle cried. David cried. The courtroom was silent. I felt nothing. Just empty. Just grateful it was over. Just grateful Ethan was safe. David tried to maintain contact with me after the sentencing. Said we needed to co-parent Ethan. Said he wanted to rebuild. Said he understood now that Kyle was guilty, but Kyle was sick. Needed help. Was not a monster. I said, "You chose him. When I told you what I found. When the police showed you evidence. When the prosecutor laid it all out. You chose him. You called me a liar. You fought me in court. You made excuses. You enabled him. You are still enabling him. I do not trust you. I do not want you in my life. Supervised visitation only. That is what the court ordered. That is all you get. He said, I'm his stepfather. I love him. You cannot just cut me out. I said, watch me. I did. Cut him out. Completely. He gets 4 hours every other Sunday. Supervised by a social worker. In a visitation center. He sees Ethan. They have awkward conversations. Ethan is polite. Distant. He knows. Not all the details. But he knows David chose Kyle over us. Knows David did not protect him. Knows David is not safe. Children know. They always know. I got messages from David's family. His mother. His sister. People I thought cared about me. About Ethan. All of them. Every single one. Sided with David. Said I overreacted. Said Kyle made mistakes but did not deserve prison. Said I destroyed their family. Said Ethan lost his stepfather because of me. I blocked them all. Everyone. Because they were wrong. Ethan did not lose a stepfather. He gained safety. He gained a mother who would burn the world down to protect him. He gained knowing that when it mattered. When the choice was hard. I chose him. That is what children need. Not a stepfather who defends predators. A parent who protects them. No matter the cost. My friends split. Some supported me. Understood. Said I was brave. Said I did the right thing. Stood by me. Others said I should have talked to David first. Should have given Kyle a chance to explain. Should not have involved police. Should have handled it as a family. Said I was too harsh. Too quick to judge. Too willing to destroy a teenage boy's life. I cut those people out too. Because anyone who thinks protecting a child is too harsh. Who thinks reporting a crime is too quick? Who thinks a predator deserves chances? Those people do not belong in my life. Or my son's life. We are smaller now. Our circle. Our family. Our world. But we are safer. And safety matters more than anything. Ethan asked me once. 6 months after everything. Mom. Did he ever? Did he do anything to me? I said, no baby. He did not. I made sure he did not. I found out what he was before he could. That is why I called the police. That is why we left. To keep you safe? He said, but he wanted to share my room. Dad wanted that. If you had said yes. Would Kyle have? Would he have upset me? I said, I do not know, baby. I do not know what would have happened. But I was not going to risk it. I was not going to wait to find out. I protected you. That is my job. That is what mothers do. He hugged me. Tight. Said, thank you for protecting me. I cried. Could not help it. Because that thank you. That moment. That was worth everything. Worth the divorce. Worth the lost friends. Worth the family who turned on me. Worth all of it. My son is safe. And he knows I chose him. That is everything? I think about that morning sometimes. The morning David demanded Kyle move into Ethan's room. The moment he said it was not negotiable. The moment he pressured our marriage if I refused. What if I had said yes? What if I had not found those files? What if I had been 3 days later? What if I had trusted David's judgment? What if I had put blending the family over protecting my child? What if? I do not let myself finish those thoughts. Because they lead nowhere good. They lead to imagining things I cannot imagine. Things that did not happen because I said no. Because I snooped. Because I called the police. Because I chose my child over my marriage. People ask me sometimes if I regret it. The divorce. The police. The trial. The complete destruction of my marriage and blended family. If I would do it differently knowing what it cost. No. I would not. I would do it exactly the same. Exactly. Every single step. Because my son is safe. Because a predator is in prison. Because I protected a child even when everyone told me I was wrong. Even when my husband called me a liar. Even when I lost everything. I protected my child. That is what mothers do. That is the only thing that matters. My husband demanded his teenage son share a room with my 10-year-old. I said no. He pressured divorce. I discovered why he was really insisting. Files on his son's computer. Hundreds of files. Exploitative material. Children. I called the police before I told him. He chose his son over the truth. Over me. Over Ethan. Defended him through the arrest. The trial. The conviction. 15 years in prison. We are divorced. I have full custody. David gets supervised visits. Kyle is in prison. Registered offender for life. David still believes I overreacted. Still thinks I destroyed an innocent boy. Still chooses his son's narrative over reality. I do not care what David thinks. I care that Ethan is safe. That he sleeps in his own room. That no one is sharing his space who should not be there. That his childhood is protected. That he knows his mother will always choose him. Some people will say I went too far. That I should have talked to David first. That I ruined a 16-year-old's life. That Kyle deserved a chance to explain. Those people do not understand. There is no explanation for what was on that computer. No excuse. No chance worth taking. No conversation worth having that puts a child at risk. I found evidence of a crime. I reported it. I protected my son. That is what you do. That is what you always do. Your child's safety is not negotiable. Not for marriage. Not for blended families. Not for stepfathers who choose their predator sons. Not for anyone. I lost my marriage. My husband. My blended family. My in-laws. Some friends. My old life. I kept my son safe. I kept him whole. I kept him protected. Fair trade. Every single time. If someone ever demands you sacrifice your child's safety for their comfort, for their family, for their denial, say no. Report what needs reporting. Protect who needs protecting. And do not look back. Because your child's safety is worth more than everything you might lose. I said no. I called the police. I lost everything except what actually mattered. My son is safe. That is enough.